It's happened. It's happening now. Who bailed them out? Germany. But here's what the media has been saying about me all along. In an article titled, New York Times, Fox News, mad, apocalyptic, cheerful, rising star. They wrote, in part, he talked to experts about the possibility of global financial panic and widespread outbreaks of violence. Oh, man. Oh, I know, that's crazy talk. Any financial panic or outbreaks of violence, that's crazy. That would never happen. And as our president pointed out during his commencement speech this weekend, there is a lot of questionable stuff from bloggers. This one from News Hounds. Glenn Beck, fear-mongering of the day. Radical European thought is now on our shores. That's downright silly, right? Well, here's a headline from the New York Times this past Saturday. Greek debt. Woes ripple outward from Asia to U.S. Ooh, wait a minute, what? I thought that was right-wing lunatic crazy talk. On Fox and Friends this morning, Stuart Varney was asked if a $1 trillion bailout would fix the situation from Greece. This is important. He said, no, that's not what it was about. It's about buying time.
All it does is buy some time. Right. The underlying problem, the European socialist model, is broken. You've got to fix it. Okay. Can they fix it? In my opinion, probably not. So you're just buying time with $1 trillion.
Okay, buying time. For what? To fix it? No. For whom? Time to implement more failed socialist programs? Time to consolidate more power? Yes. Time to rake more cash off the stock market? Yes. Time to integrate the global governments? Yes. Yes. All of these countries are collapsing because of socialism. The question is, why are we headed towards socialism when everything else is collapsing? Forget about the time how they're using it. Let me ask you this. How are you using it? When the TARP debate was raging, that first week we heard about that, what was it, $757 billion? I initially said, for the first 3 days, I was for it, because I believed that the people in the government were telling the truth when they said we were headed for a side of a mountain. We are. The prevailing theory was the TARP bailout would help us land our plane in the trees instead of the side of the mountain. Still be a crash landing, but we would have time to prepare. By Wednesday of that week, I quickly realized that they had no intention of landing it in the trees. No. Instead, they had every intention of continuing to fly the plane towards the mountainside. They had time to put on their parachutes, but they weren't going to tell you. They would tell you that everything was okay. This Greek debacle is now America's second warning. Please, prepare for a crash landing. How will you use this time? All right, we showed you the president's commencement speech from the past weekend, assailing the new forms of media. But let me ask you this. Where is the established old world media on anything that's going on in this country? Where are they? The New York Times is now just waking up to the problem in Greece and admitting that the problem is now spreading to Asia and the United States. That's weird. The Washington Post continues to attack me, but ignore all the evidence, the facts that I present. Time magazine, with lead attack Lilliputian, Joe Klein, remains blissfully ignorant about anything but savaging me on a regular basis. A little over a year ago, James Panazza, whatever, wrote an article titled, The Tears of a Clown. That'd be me, attacking. James wrote in part, this a year ago, over a year ago, fear of what? Take your pick. Fear that the U.S. is on a long march to fascism, that fat cats and bureaucratic bloodsuckers are plundering your future, that Mexico will collapse in chaos and will pour over the border. Yeah, James. As for any potential march towards fascism, a word I don't usually use, I mean, warrantless searches of your email, no assumption of privacy to your location, the possibility of government agents, according to Cass Sunstein, infiltrating your Tea Party meetings, and now considering dropping Miranda rights for citizens suspected of terror. I mean, there's no fascism like any march towards it at all with that. You know, it seems in the past Time magazine may have had a slight problem with all of those things, but not now. And as for plundering your future, oh, I don't know. $120 trillion worth of debt seems slightly plunderish to me. Is Mexico's collapse far-fetched? Chaos on the border is unheard of now. Wow. James, give it up. I mean, you're a guy who's just never going to wake up. For the rest of Americans, it's time to wake up. It's time to prepare. Things have changed. What did the president say over the weekend? Breathtaking. Change is happening at a breathtaking pace. Yes, it is. My message to you is prepare for the worst and hope and pray for the best. Prepare. Because those who have money and, they know this. They know all of this stuff. They are. I'd like to invite you to go to glennbeck.com and sign up for a free trial of the Insider Extreme. We have the free radio show with a 6-camera shoot on it. We have a couple of documentaries that are going on right now, the history of the Fed and progressivism in this country. It's all free. The only way to avoid repeating the mistakes of the past is to learn from them. Check it out at glennbeck.com, free today and tomorrow. Do it now. Back in a second. Earlier in the program, I introduced you to a social justice teacher and revolutionary activist, Ron Gochez. Here's a little more of Revolutionary Ron at a rally in defense of La Raza at UCLA.
We have nine left of center governments in Latin America right now. And they know something that one young Argentine called Che Guevara said. It was called the domino theory. And he knew that every single country would go revolutionary, one after the other, after the other, after the other. So what do they fear? They know that every single country, they know that we no longer will fall to these lies called borders. We know that a Salvadoran and a Guatemalan and Nicaraguense and Mexicano, there's no damn difference. We are all one people. So with that in mind, we see ourselves, all of us here, as the northern front of a Latin American revolutionary movement.
I told you these people were here. Ron's rant reportedly happened back in 2007, but of course, he couldn't possibly still be influencing, young minds in the classroom in California after what we just heard. I mean, that couldn't happen, could it? We called Santee High School in Los Angeles, where he is listed as a social studies teacher in the School of Public Service and Social Justice to find out. Turns out, yes, he's still teaching. Yeah. Maybe this is why the teachers union wanted a bill that would take out a clause from the public employee oath saying that you've never been a communist. Remember that? Here's what the bill that Schwarzenegger ended up vetoing aimed to do. Under existing law, a public employee is required to answer, under oath, specified questions, including but not limited to knowing membership in an organization, advocating the forceful or violent overthrow of the government of the United States or any state. This bill would delete those provisions. Gee, crazy me. I think it would be great to have teachers that didn't advocate, in a group, the overthrow of the government. America, I used to think people like this were unusual. But are they anymore? Let me ask you, why isn't there a bigger outcry? And does anybody find it interesting that the Washington Post and Huffington Post have been hammering me for saying that social justice is a code word for communists? And this guy teaches at a school for social justice. Interesting. Fascinating. Remarkable. Back in a minute.
Players of Crime Inc. and their international connections. Exposed tomorrow at 5 p.m.
Pretty amazing. Also, Founding Fathers Friday, Founding Fridays, number 2 behind Bill O'Reilly. And this week, founder you probably have never heard of, George Whitefield, what he did to unite this country even before we even were a country. And some amazing things. He had a dark period in his life, but it set a fire elsewhere that turned out really good. We'll tell you all about it on Friday. Plus, sign up for a free trial of the Insider Extreme at glennbeck.com. Check it out. And also, apparently I was cut off on one of the breaks, and it made it sound like I was saying that Obama was a Satan worshiper.